So, even though the tiger shark dive is still a couple months out, I wanted to make a quick video just to kind of go over what I'm doing ahead of time, and just so you can get an idea of the sort of preparation of things that I'm planning on doing for this dive, and why I'm preparing so far out for this. I think we are about 4 to 5 months still for the tiger shark dive, but one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm working with my local dive shop. They're doing like open scuba nights at the local high school pool, so that gives me a chance to kind of throw some tanks on and get myself back in the water and mess around with scuba gear and have fun doing that stuff. And then that also gives me a chance to kind of figure out what sort of camera gear that I want to use and what sort of setups are going to work or not work, and that way I can kind of anticipate any problems in the pool rather than when I'm there on the dive site.
Hi, my name is Ed Tiedemann, and I'm one of the owners here at Tiedemann's Diving Center, located in Levittown, New York. One of the things we want to do when we teach people to dive is we want to encourage them to go diving, to participate in the sport, because it is a very enjoyable, exciting sport. To that end, since people cannot dive all year round here on Long Island, we have helped to develop what we call Monday Night Scuba. Monday Night Scuba is all about the fact that on Monday evenings at the new Farmingdale Aquatic Center, divers who are certified can get into the water and practice their art. It's simple, it's straightforward, there's no rules involved other than safe diving and having a good time. It's invaluable to have a resource like this, because as divers will tell you, local diving is great, we love doing it, but at a certain point, once things get too cold, it's not practical for us to go diving. Now, we all love to get on those airplanes and go to all these amazing places. We run trips all over the world, literally, but can't do that every Monday night, and you can go in the pool out of Farmingdale. So Monday Night Scuba, something that I've worked towards for many, many years. I think it's a great resource for the dive community, and I hope that divers will enjoy it for many years to come.
So that's why I've been kind of jumping in the pool with scuba gear and just trying that stuff out. You know, kind of dust off some of the old scuba skills. I'm a pretty good scuba diver, so all this sort of stuff is a bit second nature to me. So it hasn't been too much of a problem from that end. Plus the tiger shark dives at Tiger Beach themselves are not complicated dives. There may be opportunity to do even more diving while we're there, but that's going to depend on conditions and whatnot, and ideally we want to just be diving with the sharks. So the conditions at Tiger Beach generally, as far as scuba diving goes, are pretty simple. They're actually very similar to the dives that I've done with Stewart Cove in Nassau, Bahamas. The depth at Tiger Beach is only about 30 feet or so. There's a couple of different sites that they'll do. Some of it's sandy, some of it's seagrass, some of it's rock and coral. So they'll move around. It's not going to be the same set space for all the dives. But again, this isn't about 25 to maybe 35 feet of water, not very deep, relatively clear water ideally, and in these circumstances they will probably overweight you so that you remain on the bottom of the on the seafloor to interact with the sharks, so you don't have to worry about a lot of buoyancy, and you're not moving around terribly too much. You're kind of going straight down to the bottom, interacting with the tiger sharks for an hour and a half or so on each dive, coming up, changing gear, getting a bite to eat, rehydrating, and then going back down for your second dive. So that's kind of the plan. It's not very complicated as far as scuba diving goes. And like I said, there may be opportunities to do more traditional scuba diving dives if there's time, or if there's conditions that aren't great for the site. We could move off and maybe do another dive somewhere else, just as a dive, just to be in the water. So that's why I wanted to get on the scuba gear and get back into it and make sure everything's working right. For dives like this, it's not going to be a lot of equipment on my end. A lot of the equipment's going to be rented down there on site. I'm not bringing a lot of equipment with me. So I want to figure out which are the better fins to bring. I want to make sure that my mask is working properly, that there's no complications or anything like that. And that's primarily the stuff that I'll be bringing with me as far as scuba gear goes. Outside of that, there's camera gear that I wanted to test out as well, and I'll go into that a little bit also. All right, so let's talk about some of the camera gear I'll be using. I'm taking all this stuff in the pool just to make sure everything works out well and works with the scuba gear and all that. That way, if there's any problems or anything that I need to adjust, I have that time to adjust, and I don't find out that there's problems when I'm down there getting ready and suddenly. So I'm able to kind of plan out things and plan out contingencies. If I need to bring certain other things, or if I need to bring other equipment along with me as well, just to kind of figure out what I need to do. So that's the plan. That's why I'm doing this stuff now. I'm making sure that everything's good to go, so there's no surprises, and I know what's going on when I'm down there. That said, my main 360 camera is going to be the Insta360 X2 in the invisible dive case. So the X2 is going to remain in the dive housing with the settings that I have set for it, and it's not going to turn on until I'm about to get in the water, and from then it'll run the entire dive. So that's the Insta360 X2 360 camera. I'll be doing that for the tiger sharks. That's my main 360 camera. This rig is set up on a Polar Pro power grip, which I've had for many years, and Polar Pro doesn't make this anymore. It's actually a battery grip, and it's got some weight to it. I have additional weight on the bottom as well as a tripod, so that when I am on the floor and I do want to do something, I can put that down, do whatever I have to do, or maybe just sit, let it record, and get some footage that way. And then also the Insta360 camera is just going to be providing a whole 360 shot of the experience, and I love 360 cameras. I love what they can do after the fact. I can take all the footage and put it on a Oculus Quest headset, and it's a virtual reality experience, like you're actually there diving. So it's fun to revisit the dive, and also fun to kind of share that experience with people who maybe normally wouldn't do something like this. The quality that I've seen so far in the tests in the pool have been excellent. I'm able to extract 360 video where you can look around, or a 360 photo where you can kind of look around from it. I can also extract designated areas where I could just maybe take the video shooting in this direction if something happens, or I can take a photo of just this section if something happens. And it's really great because you're focused on the sharks a lot and what's going on in front of you. And when it comes to sharks, you really got to kind of keep looking around and making sure that you're going to be okay, nothing sneaking up behind you. Tiger sharks do like to sneak up behind people. So I'll be having my head on a swivel and I might be looking at a shark there and something is going on over there that I don't even see. 360 camera, I can kind of see everything that's going on after the fact. So if I'm looking there and focused on something there, I could then, after the fact, after the dive, go back and take a look at the footage and turn the 360 footage around and see like, oh, there's something cool there that I didn't even see was going on. That happened a lot with the cage diving with great whites. You'd be looking at a white shark doing something really cool there, and you're like, oh wow, that's cool. But it's a whole different world underwater, and so you don't even know what's going on unless it's right in front of you and you can see it. My GoPro Hero 7 Black, I had a dome port for. And again, the only roll that this is going to take is 50-50 shots with the dome port. The camera is going to be set for whatever I set it to take pictures for 50-50 shots. That's all it's going to do. That's all I needed to do. I'm glad I still get to use the GoPro 7. I'm glad I still get to use my dome port. So this will be fun thing to experiment with. One of the interesting things about Tiger Beach is that, of course, there's action at the bottom with all the tiger sharks, but even at the surface, there's some interesting stuff going on as well, and I'm looking to capture that also. So what they do is when they arrive on site, they'll put bait and start to try to attract in sharks, and a lot of the times what happens is they'll get a lot of sharks at the surface. And these will be mainly lemon sharks and Caribbean reef sharks. And there'll be a whole mess of them hanging out around the back of the boat looking for scraps and, you know, all the bait. And eventually, there's going to be sharks that'll be down on the bottom as well. But even at the surface, at the back of the boat, there will be sharks. So one of the things that I'll be using is what's called a 50-50 dome port. And I actually have one I got when I had the GoPro Hero 7 Black. So I'll be bringing the GoPro Hero 7 Black with me, and what this does is it's just a dome of clear acrylic, and you kind of put it in the water at water level, and you can get those 50-50 shots that are above and below the water at the same time. So the water kind of comes here, and so you'll get shots of the sky or the boat or the waves and the fins and stuff, and then also below the surface you'll get hopefully shark action and stuff going on there. So this camera is set up totally dedicated to just be on the boat at the surface, dedicated to getting 50-50 shots. I may do high frame rate video extraction and get stills out that way, or I may do high frame photo bursts or time-lapse sort of thing to get to try and get some interesting shots. So this is dedicated just to 50-50 shots, and as you can see, it can extend pretty far. That way I'll be able to place it in the water from the boat and get shots that way. This is my most top of the line GoPro camera. So I'll be using this to some capacity on the tiger shark dives as my backup B-roll secondary camera. I'll have 3 cameras on me, ideally, for the tiger shark dives: the X3, the Ace Pro, and then the GoPro 11 Mini. Be housed, and this is done primarily on a it's called a Telson neck mount, if you will, and this is, I find, to be a better mount than a GoPro chesty that they have. I'll be wearing a lot of gear, so having to have additional mounting straps for the chest and everything is not great. I want to be able to kind of film a B-roll perspective. I want to be able to film a sort of a hands-free sort of perspective. A chest mount would sit a little higher and maybe get in the way of a regulator and a hose, or it might block the footage or something like that. So the plan is to have it sort of mounted like this. This will be definitely handy when it comes to hands-free. A lot of times tiger sharks will come in close to check you out and be curious and stuff, and sometimes you have to redirect them, so I would need a free hand to do that as well. So I'm already holding a camera with one hand, so I would at least have another option to have a camera situated that will get that point of view shot of the redirect, but also have a hand free in case I need to do something else. That's going to be on a Telson neck mount, and this is a very sturdy, stable, solid mount. What's great about this is that when you're on the floor, on the sea floor, interacting with the tiger sharks, it's going to rest comfortably here, and then if perhaps I'm swimming or doing something like that, it will kind of dangle that way, and I'll get an interesting forward shot as well. It won't be any kind of just pointing down if I'm swimming along that way. So that's the plan. Also, one of the things with the BC and the scuba gear is there's a strap, and I've been testing this out in the pool. So there's a strap that clips up towards the neck that I can kind of keep this secure, so when I'm jumping in, it won't fly up and hit me in the face or anything like that. So I'm very excited about this mount, and hopefully some of the shots that it'll get. The Hero GoPro 9 Black is going to be my B-roll camera on the boat, on the surface. And what that's going to do is going to give me the opportunity to keep it in the media mod and keep the max lens mod on it. So I can only shoot in 2.7K. But I'll have the audio capabilities of the media mod, and this will be for doing any kind of B-roll pickup shots while I'm on the boat, and of course any audio that I want to pick up as well. That's my plan. Also, one of the few cameras that I have a circular polarizer on, because I will be up on the water, and we'll definitely have a polarizer on at some point if I need to get any additional shots for that. To dedicate each camera to do a certain role and have a certain function, not resetting different camera settings and screwing things up. So I'm bringing along my Insta360 X2. The X2 is only going to be used on the surface, on the dive boat, with the extendable selfie stick that's a 3-meter, 10-foot pole that I can get interesting drone shots and extend the pole off the boat a bit and do that. So this camera is only dedicated to getting those cool 360 drone high pole crane shots while I'm on the boat. And then along comes the Ace Pro, which was released by Insta360 in November after I had done all my test dives in the pool. The Insta360 Ace Pro will be my main shooting camera when I'm down there for tiger shark dives. I may do some additional stuff on the boat, but mainly it's going to be for tiger shark dives. I'm not going to go into all the features of the Ace Pro. It's not really a review, but the factors that went in for me to immediately get the Ace Pro was how it handles low light situations. Low light situations with GoPro has always been a struggle. There's always been darkness to it all. It doesn't really handle very well because of the small sensor size. And the Ace Pro kind of tackles low light a little differently. So there's a couple of factors to that. The first is it's co-engineered with Leica, so it has good glass and it has a good lens. The lens itself is a larger aperture with a 2.6 versus GoPro's, which is a 2.8. So this lens allows in more light than a GoPro does. The next factor to this is in how it handles low light is the sensor is larger than a GoPro sensor. It's on par with DJI 4 size sensor, and you can find all these reviews and all sorts of information about the Ace Pro, out on the internet, and lots of review videos and comparison videos. Another factor that goes into the low light, the Ace Pro, is after it collects the image data on the sensor, but before it makes the video file, it has a very fast processor, which is AI enabled to do some color processing and some image enhancements and some denoising, and it makes a better image before it compresses it into the video file. Yeah, I'm showing some comparisons here, and you can see the difference between other action camera type things and the Ace Pro's low light capability. So that becomes a factor when you're diving in the water, and as soon as you go underwater you start kind of losing light and stuff, so this kind of brings that back in. Another factor involved with this is the aqua vision that Insta360 has in post-processing. So it'll color correct the footage, based on underwater factors and lighting and color correcting. So I'm not going to need any kind of additional filter on my housing, because it'll correct that after the fact. So those are some major contributing factors to why I wanted to get the Ace Pro. Additionally, the Ace Pro is very similar to a GoPro 12 anyway in terms of its stats and its capabilities. And I like how it interfaces with the Insta360 app. GoPro's is kind of clunky or whatever. Like I said, I've been using it for years. I'm familiar with GoPro's shortcomings, but this is definitely something that I look forward to. The Tiger Shark dive isn't for a couple months now, but even so, I'm gonna wait till the waves stop crashing. It's always something. Boat wake. This was supposed to be the calm side of the ocean. All right, let's try this again.